What do you get when you mix water and RK? Of course.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Modified Devil. Today I'm trying to show you guys my ultimate Valby build. I finally got her up to where I want her to be, where it's decent, not like I'm not fully built yet, but it's good enough where it will do the job. So first of all, the main thing is ultimate Valby, it's not going to be your boss killing Descendant, okay? She's more like a killing mobs descendant. Not that she's gonna be bad in boss fight, but just not as good as certain other descendants because of the way her build is. Now let's go into her ability first. Her first ability is called Bubble Bullet. Okay, you shoot out this little bouncing bullet, and then it creates a small puddle. Now that is very important because it has a different name. When they touch the small puddle, they take a dot damage, continuous damage, and I inflict it with Laundry. Laundry is non-attribute resistant decrease and electric resistant decrease. So it kind of helps if you have Valby in your party and you have Bunny in your party, right? The rest of them you can read it yourself, but it's not. That's not the important part. Next is Plop Plop. Now in this one, it creates a big puddle. Okay, and when enemies stand in big puddle, they also receive dots. Okay, and you also inflict Laundry. So they kind of stack Laundry on top of each other. Okay, next is Cleanup. This is the one where if you have ever seen any videos about the Valby run, this is what you use for the Valby run. Okay, you turn it on and you run around and you have no enemy unit collision and you create waterway. And when enemies stand in waterway, they take dot damage, and you also get inflict them with Laundry. So they don't stack like Laundry stack on top of each other. It just they get Laundry and they just get a flat 20% resistance decrease. We don't care much about electric for us, right? Because we don't use electric. And your ultimate is Laundry Bomb. Now, personally, I don't use it that often, but if you want to, it also inflict a different dot on the enemy, okay, if they stand in the bomb. So it's also useful because they have to stand in it. I mean, yeah, you group them up, but they probably, if you're going against mobs, they die way before that. And your passive, this is not the original passive. This is my Supply Moisture passive, and I'll go into it in a little bit. Let me show you the skill first. So we'll get some enemy going. We'll just do one because I want to show you guys why I said small puddle, big puddle, and all that stuff. So because you actually inflict 3 different dots. So here's one. There's one, 42,000. There's two, 1,900. It's not much, but it's 1,900. It's another dot, right? And then your big puddle, let's see, 17,000. So you're inflicting 3 dots right now. 42,000, 17,000, and 1,900. I'm not looking at the crit right now, but this is what I'm talking about. It's 3 different dots. So overall, you're doing about what, 60? No, like closer to like 70,000 damage per tick. But in order to do that, you need to inflict all 3 dots. And if you want to, you can even inflict your ult too. So then you will have 4 dots going at the same time. This one is hitting what? I can't even see. There's so many numbers going off right now. But that's the way Valby works. Now, we'll go into the modules and explain how to make her good at mob fight. Okay, this is a mob build. First, your most important Transcendence module is Supply Moisture. While in water, increase firearm critical hit rate, skill critical hit rate, skill duration, and firearm attribute trigger rate. Now, the most important one out of all of these is probably your skill critical hit rate and skill duration. Okay, if you look at Valby, her skill critical hit rate is only, well, base is 5%. But I have mods on, so it's 9.6. But if you look at my crit rate while I'm standing on the puddle, we're up to 48% now. So it's a big increase, so your tick will crit a lot more than what it is now. Because a lot of the Descendant, their base crit rate is only 5%, so you can't barely hit like Freyna. And building crit is not that useful, but on Valby, crit, it's viable. So Supply Moisture is your most important one. You put down your water, you stand in it, and you just get way higher crit rate. This one, whatever you want. I chose mid-air maneuvering. If you like the other ones, it doesn't matter. This is just here to add a little extra capacity to your module, so I wouldn't really like go too in depth into it. First thing first, we want focus on non-attribute and focus on dimension. Now, I did actually put on dimension specialist and non-attribute master, and I actually do a little bit more damage. But with the focus on non-attribute and focus on dimension, you actually get skill cooldown on top of it. So you trade that little bit of damage for skill cooldown. I'll prefer that, because your whole point is for the mob run, especially for the Valby run, is to constantly be in cleanup. So you just run in circle constantly. So those two mods are really important. Next, you want nimble fingers, skill cooldown. Same concept, you want cleanup to be constantly up, so you want as much cooldown reduction as you can. And then after that, for mob fight, I decided to go with, for my health and defense mod, I went with spear and shield, defense plus 89.8% and skill power plus 8.1%. I chose this one over increased defense is because I'm fighting mobs. I don't need to survive as much. Mobs doesn't hit that hard. So I'm okay with just defense and skill power. And then I went with Battle of Stamina. You increase max HP and a little bit of skill duration. It's not much, but it helps to keep the clean up, because the increased duration also help with the waterway, also help with you stay in liquefied form. Same thing with the puddles. It all increased the duration. And then after that, the skill expansion. Skill effect range plus 92%. I tried to play Valby without it, and I basically, the puddle is so small, it's not viable to use at all. You need to have skill expansion. Next is maximize duration. This is a mob fight, so skill power modifier minus 21%. Yes, it's pretty bad, but it's mob fight. They will die, so don't worry too much about it. And then the last two mods, well, the last three, if you want to talk about this third one, okay? But let's go into the last two mods first, is emergency measure. It's the same for every Descendant that use skill as their main damage. Emergency measure and frontlines. Frontlines increase critical hit damage and crit rate. This increase crit rate and crit damage. Pretty straightforward. And for the last slot, I'm going to put skill insight. Right? My idea is, if I can't crit, it doesn't matter how much crit damage I have. I need Valby to crit for me to do crit hit damage. So I would put this as my last slot on this one, so that she can crit as much as possible. Maybe get her to 50% crit rate finally, and most of my dots will hit. And because you have 3 different dots, they all crit separately. So you can crit a lot if you build Valby right. Alright, so that's the mob one. Let's go into the boss one. It's very similar. Oh, I need to change that mod. Nice. It's very similar, but we changes a couple things. So you still have nimble finger, focus on non-attribute and dimension, okay? But because it's a boss fight, the boss is so big, you just trying to focus on one models. I got rid of skill expansion, and I put on skill. I put on an extra defensive mod. Okay. You don't need it as much because it's just one boss fight, and you want to have more health and defense so the boss doesn't one-shot you, and that's the idea. So I'm not gonna go over the mods that I already have. I'm gonna go over the mods that I have in the mob build. I'm gonna go over the mods that that's different. So I have skill extension, skill duration lasts longer, and the main reason is the longer the puddle lasts, the water lasts, the longer your supply moisture is gonna last, and you basically just want to sit there with your enduring legacy or whatever gun you have, and just sit there and shoot the boss. So the longer the puddle lasts, the longer you do more damage. HP amplification. If you guys have been watching my video, you know that I don't like building into shield. So even though it's only like an extra 10% max HP, I'll take it. I don't care about shield. Shield sucks anyways. So I'll rather get more HP. And then I have 2 defensive mod for defense. Increased defense, pretty straightforward. And next is spear and shield. You get more defense on top of increased defense, so you can get you won't die as often. Okay, so there, if you want to see my stats, I'll show you. On the boss build, I have 32,000 defense and 11,000 health. And if you go into my mob build, I have 17,000 defense and 8,000 health. So it's a big difference between the mob build and the boss build. So the mob is, I'd use it for like dungeon fight, or when I'm doing the Valby run. Boss build is when I want to use Valby to fight against the boss, which is still viable, just not as good. When it comes to boss fight, your whole goal is to put all 3 dots on the boss, and after that you just shoot your enduring legacy until it runs out, reload, and do it all over again. 3 dots, stand on top of your water, unload your enduring legacy. So that's the way it works. It's not the most ideal because you have to get close with all of your skills, and it's not always the best to stand close to the Colossus. So that's why I don't think personally Valby is a good boss fight Descendant. Now let's go over her build more. First, Enduring Legacy. If you want to watch my Enduring Legacy video, it's in my channel, and how I build it. That's my best boss killing weapon I've had. And then the secondary, I use Greg's Reverse Fate. I am working on getting my Secret Garden up, and once I get Secret Garden up, I'm gonna swap out Greg's Reverse Fate and put in Secret Garden. This weapon is just here to get the proficiency, so don't worry about that. For my reactor, Materialized Phase Reactor, a non-attribute dimension. Okay, I use Enduring Legacy, so I got one that's for Enduring Legacy. All your skills, not all, but your cleanup skill is non-attribute dimension. And I think, yeah, your plop is also non-attribute dimension. So this is going to help you with those damage. And then for the stats, I have non-attribute skill power boost, which makes my dots do even more damage. And skill cooldown. And remember how important skill cooldown is when it comes to Valby, right? And if you can get it to where the stat cooldown is the same as the liquefied duration, then you have your cleanup basically up 24/7. So if you can get it to that, be my guess. But this is good enough, since you get 2 stack of the cleanup. Next, I decided to go with Annihilation Auxiliary Power and Annihilation Processor. And the main reason is the skill duration. I just needed the 2-set combo because that's the only part I care about. The 4-set is more for Glay. So I will never really go down to lose my HP will never go below 50%. If I go below 50%, I'm not really, you know, that's gonna be dangerous. The next two mods external components I have is Acrobat. Okay, Acrobat sensor and Acrobat memory. And the reason why I chose that is because none of the other external component is that great to the point where it helps me. So I decided to use this one. I know it's purple, but the 2-set bonus give you extra skill power and extra firearm attack. It helps you with everything on mob fight and boss fight. If you're just mobbing, you run around, that helps you with skill power. But if you're bossing, you're doing more dodge damage to the boss and doing more firearm attack on the boss. So overall, Valby, I really like her. I really like the ultimate Valby. I think that she needs a little bit buff on the boss fight mechanic stuff, because she's just not that great at boss fight. But overall, she's great from doing any grinding in the open world or in dungeon. So I strongly suggest you guys get her just so that you can do the farming. I've been farming with Bunny. I want to change it up. It gets boring when you play Bunny 24/7. So I'm kind of glad I got Ultimate Valby. I got her up and running. And yeah. But thanks for watching, guys. If you guys have any question, comment below. I'll try my best to answer your question. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.